What's going on, Mutha Truckers? Welcome to Mutha Trucker News. Emails at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. We're just here for the information, so I appreciate you guys for following and subscribing to the show. This is what we do here, so you don't have to look up the information. Well, Brake Safety Week is upon us once again. I'm going to say it's the biggest money grab of the season from August 25th to 31st. You know, truck drivers always say, Alex, you always let us know on the 23rd, 24th, sometimes on the 25th. Can you let us know a little bit earlier this year? Well, there you have it. So Brake Safety Week will begin August 25th through 31st of 2024 across the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And here's the crazy part. Last year, they pulled over 18,000 plus truck drivers. So it says here, one of the biggest touchstones on North American commercial vehicle industry's calendar is approaching, Brake Safety Week. The annual North American Commercial Vehicle Road Check event will take place August 25th through 31st. So just for you, Mutha Truckers, it starts on Sunday. So here's the tips that they want to give out, just so that you know. What I recommend is go on vacation. And I'm just kidding. You know, like people always say, hey, if you're doing the right things, you got nothing to worry about. So I'm just saying, hey, do the right thing and you got nothing to worry about, right? But here's the 10 brake lining and pads tips for you when they pull your butt over. Number 1, inspect visible portions of the brake lining and pads as part of your pre and post-trip inspections. You know, hey, look, I drove a truck for Northern American Van Lines for over 10 years. Man, at the Flying J, at the Truckstop, at the rest area, I'd wake up, I don't see anybody doing any pre-trips inspections ever. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes it's the Schneider or the Swift guy that's the one doing it. I'm not saying he's doing it right, but he's doing it. Number 2, look for signs of missing lining, such as grooves in the drum from the rivet contact. Number 3, look at the shoe to drum clearance and ensure there is adequate lining on the shoe. Number 4, look for any signs of leaks from the hub or other components that may be contaminating the lining pad and surface. Number 5, ensure there are no missing lining blocks or pads. Number 6, check for vehicle cracks or voids in the lining block. Number 7, check for any exposed rivets or lining blocks that look loose on the shoe. Number 8, on disc brakes, pay particular attention to the condition of the rotor, such as heavily rusted rotors across the entire friction surface on either side or metal-to-metal contact. Number 9, make sure all repairs are consistent with the brake manufacturer's requirements and guidelines. And number 10, know any issues in your driver vehicle inspection reports and report them to the motor carrier to have the defective lining pads repaired. So for the truck drivers that are slip seating or the truck drivers that are picking up a random trailer from yard, definitely on Sunday. I know you're doing it already. I'm just saying, for those 7 days, triple, quadruple check, because they're pulling over 18,000 truck drivers. The truckers, so I'm finally leaving Florida. Buppy and I are my road dog. We're gonna go and head to Texas, and I thought for a last vlog, I didn't get an opportunity to put this up, but it was a good friend, and I interviewed him out in Florida, so I thought it would just be a perfect timing as I'm leaving Florida for good. Today, I really want to get to know you a little bit. And, you know, we had a conversation and behind the scenes, and you're like 33 years in the game. And the first thing I talked to you is like, this thing looks like it's brand new off of the showroom floor, man. So
that's a daily thing too. Like I said, we take a lot of pride in the whole fleet, and we try to keep them looking this way. I mean, sometimes if you walk around the truck and you look at it really close, it's not perfect, but it's presentable. Right. You know what I mean? And for someone to come up and tell me the truck looks beautiful, that gives me a lot of pride. So it keeps me driven to do what I do, and like I said, the rest of the guys too.
Yeah, I love that.
A good bunch of guys. Everybody takes care of the equipment, tries to keep it looking clean, and it gives us a good image. You know, it's like, hey, you guys got really nice trucks, and I'm like, we really appreciate that.
You know, so tell me, you know, why all the time and energy in staying presentable? What's that about, honestly? Is it a trucker thing, or is it a you thing? What is it?
As a whole, it makes you look like you actually care about yourself, about the image of the company, and, you know, everything across the board. You know, if you're out there, you're dressed in raggy clothes, which, you know, sometimes I do because I'm loading or unloading the truck, or in the wintertime I do that. But, you know, as far as the truck and, you know, coming to the shows, I try to look presentable and keep the trucks looking presentable and just keep a nice, you know, nice demeanor, you know what I mean, to where you talk. I get a little negative, you know, input once in a while. I just kind of try to let it roll off my back and focus on all the, you know, positive stuff. So
no, I love that. No, you got positive energy, brother.
I mean, it's what you got to have, because if you let the little stuff, eat at you, it's going to run your whole day, your whole weekend, your whole month. You know what I mean? So.
No. So for after 33 years, with the ups, the downs, the sideways, the everything in trucking, what keeps you trucking, brother?
I just love the trucks. I grew up. I used to go from South Florida up to Indianapolis, and I ride in the car, and that's all I saw all the way up. And then you remember the felt books where you did like the coloring, had all the trucks. I've had a love for trucks since I was like 6, 7 years old. And then, like I said, I get to the point where I get in the equipment, and it's different. You know what I mean? It's almost like guys that ride motorcycles. You call it wind therapy. This is what we call diesel therapy.
Hey.
You know what I mean? So it's what we love to do. I've tried doing other things, and I always come back to this. And it's not just for the money or a flashy truck. It's constantly a challenge. The equipment's changing constantly. The cars change. The whole industry as a whole, from where I started 33 years ago till now, is totally different.
I can imagine that, and so, for like the new guys coming out, right? Everybody kind of starts out in a box truck, you know what I mean? Dry van, you're doing what you can. You might go into reefer. What's the good about specializing? Because car hauling is a specialized trait. Do you recommend new drivers at one point to get into more of a specialized field of trucking?
I would say the first couple years, you just need to get your feet wet and learn the ins and outs of the trucking itself. How everything works, driving the truck, dealing with the traffic, all that stuff. Because like I said, like the tow truck over here, my truck, the guys that do the flatbeds, that's one thing, but the guys that do the low boys and all that stuff, and the cattle and all that stuff, the tankers, all that stuff, the truck totally handles differently than a regular semi-truck. So you gotta get a feel for the truck, and when I see seat of the pants, when you're sitting in that truck, you gotta be able to feel what that truck's doing. And people look at me like I'm crazy, but I can tell there's something going on with a truck just by driving it.
Yeah.
So it's just so it's just one of those things where you just kind of try and get your mind in tune with what you're doing. Then work towards a specialized. Because you jump right into specialized, it's overwhelming. I've tried teaching guys, out of a truck that's been a year, 2 years, and they do pretty decent, and then some of them just are absolutely horrible. So it's not for everyone. It's.
So when you say it's not for everyone, what type of personality, would be great for someone that would be successful as a car hauler, you think?
High energy, definitely, because I said we do a lot of long hours. There's a lot of walking, a lot of climbing, and you got to try and keep yourself in good shape. So if you're 400 pounds, I've seen guys 400 pounds do it, but it's a lot harder on them than it is me. So I try to keep fit and stuff like that. So it's as a whole, I think if you're doing flatbedding, dry van, or specialized, you still need to work on your health.